a cry that shattered the sky, a warrior born of wrath, and an oath soaked in blood. The sons of Kartavirya Arjuna thought vengeance would bring peace, but they awoke something older than war, and far more merciless. He is no king, he is no god. He is Parashurama, the axe-wielding storm sent by destiny to cleanse the world. This is the day the Kshatriyas wept. The forest was quiet, save for the soft rustling of leaves and the distant call of birds. Through its sacred silence, two figures emerged. One, a divine cow glowing with celestial grace. The other, a warrior with blood staining his hands and his axe. Parashurama had returned, not victorious, not proud, but heavy, carrying the weight of war on his shoulders. He walked beside Kamadhenu, the holy cow, through the dense woods toward his ashram, each step marked by the echo of 1,000 screams left behind in battle. And when he reached the clearing where the ashram stood, he found his father, Jamadagni, standing tall, his presence still and unwavering like a mountain carved from Dharma. Parashurama fell to his knees. "Father," he said, his voice a mix of triumph and torment, "I have done what I had to. I fought to retrieve what was stolen. Thousands of soldiers fell before me. I had to cut through all 1,000 arms of Kartavirya Arjuna. I beheaded him, and I brought Kamadhenu back." There was silence, but not pride. Jamadagni's eyes darkened with sorrow, not joy. "My son," he spoke with the weight of ancient wisdom, "you have committed a grave mistake. If Kamadhenu was meant to return, she would have come through the will of the divine. You drew rivers of blood. You slaughtered a king, a ruler who, despite his flaws, was seen as a god by his people. You have stained your soul in fury, not righteousness." Parashurama looked up, stunned, but his father continued, "We are Brahmins. We are not meant for wrath. We are the keepers of peace, patience, and prayer. The gods speak through us only when our hands are clean and our hearts are still." He paused, then placed a trembling hand on his son's shoulder. "To cleanse your soul, you must walk the lands. Visit every temple. Seek every sage. Learn. Atone. Find the balance you've lost." So Parashurama bowed his head, accepted his father's words, and set out on his pilgrimage. He crossed mountains. He stood in the shadows of towering temples carved by divine hands. He listened to rishis whose voices held the rhythm of the cosmos. He bathed in sacred rivers and filled his mind with wisdom far older than the stars. And with each step, a layer of his fury was stripped away. Not forgotten, but buried beneath layers of purpose. When he finally returned home, his heart was quieter. He touched his parents' feet, received their blessings, and resumed his life in the ashram with a soul a little softer. But fate is not softened by time. One day, as he ventured into the deep forest to collect firewood, the ashram stood unguarded. Jamadagni sat in meditation, a beacon of stillness in the chaos of the world. And into that sacred space came the sons of Kartavirya Arjuna, driven not by justice, but by revenge. They said nothing. They showed no honor. One of them drew his sword, and before Jamadagni could even open his eyes, they beheaded him. The ground didn't shake, but Renuka's heart did. She found her husband lying in silence, his head separated from his body, his blood mingling with the sacred soil of their home. And from the pit of her soul, she screamed, a sound so deep, so harrowing, that every creature in the forest froze. Birds fled, the wind recoiled, and her voice pierced the heavens. She cried for her son. Parashurama heard it. He didn't walk, he ran. His feet barely touched the earth. The trees blurred past as he flew through the jungle. He counted the number of times his mother had called his name. 1, 2, 3. Each time, the weight of the world pressed harder against his chest. By the time he reached the ashram, the count was 21, and what he saw broke something sacred inside him. His mother was on her knees, soaked in tears. The ashram, once filled with peace and prayer, was drenched in silence and blood. His father, Rishi Jamadagni, lay lifeless, beheaded while in meditation, his soul stolen not by fate, but by the cowardice of vengeance. The sons of Karthavirya Arjuna had struck, and they had not struck like warriors. They had murdered like thieves. Parashurama stood there, breathing fire. "This is what they are," he said, voice low and trembling with rage. "When their father stole from us, I gave him a warrior's death. But now they have spilled the blood of a sage, a man of peace, a man in prayer, unarmed." He looked to his mother, her body shaking from grief. He knelt beside her and held her trembling hands. "You called me 21 times," he whispered, "and for each cry, I shall wipe this world clean of the corrupted kshatriyas. I swear it, Mother. I swear it on your tears, on his blood, and on the heavens themselves." He stood. His hand gripped the handle of his battle axe, no longer a weapon, now a force of destiny. And then he began his march. He didn't seek war. War came to him. Kingdoms rose to stop him. Kings gathered their legions, and warriors stood shoulder to shoulder, blades drawn. They believed they were ready. They were not. The first army that faced him fell before their war horns even finished sounding. Parashurama did not fight like a man. He struck like a storm. Arrows shattered mid-flight. Shields splintered like dry wood. Horses reared and screamed before their riders hit the ground. One man, one axe, and every battlefield he touched became a grave. Blood ran like rivers through the plains. Every strike of his axe split the air, tore the earth, and ended lives by the thousands. No armor could stop him. No sword could match him. No wall could contain him. He spared none who stood in his path. Kings who had ruled for decades died in seconds. Generals who boasted of their strength were torn apart before they could shout orders. The screams of the dying became the anthem of his warpath. But Parashurama was not without honor. He never stepped into the chambers of queens, for he respected the sanctity of women. He never entered cow shelters, for the cow was sacred to him. And so, a few bloodlines survived, hidden in the shadows of mercy, not strength. The Ikshvakus, the Chandravamshis, survivors not of valor, but of reverence. When, at last, the world had no more kshatriyas to give, when kings were no more, and thrones sat empty across the land, Parashurama stood alone. The blood of dynasties stained his feet. The war cries had faded. Only silence remained. All the lands, every field, forest, and mountain belonged to him now. But he was no king. He had never wanted a throne. Power did not tempt him. Rule did not call him. And so he walked to the great sage Kashyapa Prajapati. Without pride, without ceremony, he bowed. "This world," he said, "needs a ruler of peace, not wrath. I give it to you." He handed over all of earth to Kashyapa. Every inch, every kingdom he had conquered, every land he had claimed in blood. And then, as quietly as he had come, Parashurama vanished. He returned to the deep forests of the south, his axe at his side, his duty fulfilled, his soul still burning. He was not born of vengeance, but vengeance had carved his name into the bones of history. He is Parashurama, the storm that wore a sage's face, the executioner of arrogance, the man who made the world tremble. And this was his blood oath. And for more such timeless tales of gods, of rage, of redemption, subscribe to Mahakatha and the Cosmic Chronicles, where every story isn't just told, it's awakened.